3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Butter B. Rocker.
You are now tuned in to Butter B Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butter B Rocker. Listen, we have an amazing show for you today. I'm super excited about this young lady because what's so cool is I was looking at TV and I saw her, and I was like, ooh, she's gonna be one of my guests. So I'm super excited about this show. Can you guys please help me welcome to the show? She is an actress and an audiobook narrator. She made her original streaming acting debut last year with 2 critically acclaimed shows premiering in the same month. She started in mid-October with Dopesick, which is on Hulu, which stars Michael Keaton, the Emmy-nominated and highly decorated limited series. And at the end of that month, she also starred in Swagger. That's on Apple TV. Can you guys please show some love for Miss Arischa Connor? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. What about yourself, Queen?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Today's a good day.
Wonderful. So I like to dive right on in. Can you get everybody a little bit background about yourself, and then we'll get right to it?
Sure. My name, like you said, is Arischa Connor. I am an actress, a professional working actor. That's all I do. So act as well as audiobook narration. Hopefully by the end of this year, my goal is to have completed 40 audiobooks. I just need one more to complete that. So I'm excited about that. I love audiobook narration because that's acting as well. I've been acting for probably about between 10 to 12 years. So acting is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. I was in education for 20 years before I started acting. And that's what really made me want to go into acting, because I used to talk to my students all the time about following their dreams. And they challenged me to follow mine. And so I took the chance and I resigned from my job, and I haven't looked back.
You know, that sounds a little bit like me. I left corporate in 2007 to pursue music full time and start touring the world.
Oh, wow.
And had to bet on myself. So let's talk about that for a little while. How scary was it stepping out there?
You know, for me, the thing that was not necessarily holding me back, but, I have a daughter. She's 26 now. Her name's Denise. And when she was younger, I used to sing with a wedding band, and we used to, go all around the East Coast singing at weddings. And I wasn't really acting, but I was singing a lot more at that time. But I knew that I had to have that stationary job in my mind. I had to have the stationary job with a steady paycheck coming in so I could take care of her. So fast forward, when she went to college and she graduated, then I was like, okay, she's graduated, maybe this is the time. But it did take me a couple years after she graduated to really just take that step. And it really was because of my students. Me talking to them all the time. And I had a student ask me once, well, what about you? They used to call me, my stage name is Arischa Connor. I am married. Craig Frierson is my husband. So Arischa Connor Frierson. But my kids used to call me Miss Fry. And a student was like, Miss Fry, what about you? Are you going to pursue your dream of acting? And, I was like, I am. I'm going to be a walking lesson for you guys, for you to see that I'm going to go out here. I'm just going to work it. I was working hard too. I was taking classes. I was doing all kinds of stuff, and then I got a great role. And then it was just like role after role after role. So I really wanted to show my students that if you work hard, you really work hard, you have a dream. A dream is not just something that you say, hey, I want to do that, and then you don't put any work in, but you work hard, put the work in, really get yourself immersed in whatever that thing is and work at it, that you can do that. You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I love your backstory. I love it a lot. You just touched on a couple of things that makes a lot of sense. When you have a goal, you have to get training, and you took training, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk to those actors, those aspiring actors that are looking to land those roles? How many no's did it take for you to get that yes? And how much thick skin did you have to have?
A lot of no's. Years of no's. And like I said, before I did Swagger and Dopesick, I mean, it had been 10, 11, almost maybe 12 years before I got that first co-star role. So, I had done some commercials and some other, things, but nothing that was of that magnitude. So it was a lot of no's. And, in the beginning, I used to take those no's personally. Mm-hmm. And I started working with a mindset coach. Her name is Christine Horn. I absolutely love her and accredit her with my shift in my mindset. That was something that I really, really had to work on to realize, quite simply, that who I am is enough. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that, you're looking outside of yourself for something that is already inside, knowing that you are enough the way that you are. So when I got to that point, just realizing that I didn't have to put on another person or put on another persona, when I'm doing my auditions, just be me. And when I realized that me being me, authentically who Arischa is, then that's when the doors really started opening for me. So what I would tell any new actors, or, when you go to class, what you're really learning is how to get in tune with who you are, so that you can bring who you are to a character, because if the character's name is Nancy, you can't be Nancy. The only person you can be is you. So how would you act in whatever those given circumstances are? What would you do in those imaginary situations? And knowing that who you are is okay, and who you are is enough, and being vulnerable enough to actually give authentically yourself to that character. That's what you're going to learn in class. And it's a journey, because like I said, a lot of times people try to go outside of themselves to give a great performance, when that it's really inside of you, and knowing that you are amazing and you are enough just the way you are, and being okay with that. But like lots of no's, and class. I love being in class. I love learning. Anybody who knows me, like in my actor circle, they know I stay in a class. Love them, because you learn so much being in a community of actors and others pursuing the same thing that you are pursuing. It's like basketball, you can't be a great basketball player just by not practicing on the court. They're on that court every day doing, practicing free throws. That's how Steph Curry's so good with his free throws. He used to practice. It's the same thing with acting. Practice. And I can't say practice is going to make perfect, but practice is going to just make you feel better in your authentically you being you, and opening up and being vulnerable and all those things.
Would you say that going to classes makes you push yourself even more? Because I can speak for myself. When I went and I saw other people, I was like, all right, it made me have to step up.
Oh, yeah, because, you're surrounded by other people who are immersed in this, and so when I first started, like, I wasn't immersed in acting, but I thought I was doing, I was like, shoot, I'm good. I was doing some plays, some local plays. I'm like, I'm good. Then I went to my first acting class, and at the end of class, I was in my car crying, because I'm like, I'm not as good as I thought. These people are amazing, and so being iron sharpens iron, that's what people say all the the time, but it's true. You're in a class with someone who is really doing the thing. You see their work ethic, you see, the tools and the things that they're doing, it's going to pull you up. So if you're not, and I know a lot of people say, oh, I got natural talent, I got natural ability. Yeah, a lot of people have natural talent, natural ability. Viola Davis goes to class. Denzel Washington goes to class. Boom.
Right.
So you gotta practice, and being in a community of other people who are doing the same thing and doing it really well will only pull you up and help you to do better. That's what I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can say that because I'm a singer and because I have stage presence and command the stage and everything. I honestly thought I was going to go into this class and it was going to be a piece of cake, And I don't know if I cried in the car. I don't even think I made it to the car. I think I made it, walking back to the car. I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
chick, you just got a reality check. You need to step your game up. And it made me really push myself. And I was very thankful for that.
Definitely. And it's an eye-opening thing, but I think everybody needs to experience it, because a lot of times, like sometimes I'll help teach a class. I don't teach classes per se, but I do help to teach classes. And sometimes people will come to class and think, I'm here. And then when you get in class, you're like, and when you feel challenged, you're like, who do they think you are? No, you're being challenged in your class just to make you better. However good you think you are, there's more.
Yep.
Go to class and discover what that more is.
Yep. Different layers. Layers. I love it.
Most definitely.
What hurdles do you still have to face as a Black woman in Hollywood?
I think it's the age thing for me personally, because like I'm 51. I'm proud of my age. I mean, people will be like, oh, because I just had a birthday on Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. And the people are like, oh, happy 30th. And I'm like, no. Happy 51st.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a blessing to be 51 years old. People don't reach 51 years old. So I'm proud of that. And when I do my auditions, sometimes I'll get auditions for 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s, 50s to 60s. I've even gotten an audition for 70. So
really?
Yes, I have. And so I think it's like finding that spot, because you got actresses, Regina Hall, beautiful. Regina's what, 53, 54, she can play somebody who's 30. And for me, where I am, I don't have to play somebody who's 30 or 40. I'm comfortable in the 50s. I'm comfortable in that. And so, but I still get those, I'll do those auditions for 30s, 40s. And normally when I do it, because I got my little gray patch up here in the front, y'all, I love my little gray patch. And it's, I'm kind of gray around and in the back. I've been toying with the idea of covering my gray, because when I've gone to sets, they always cover it. So I'm like, well, do I need to cover my gray? And then I'm like, if I cover it, then I'm not being authentically myself. I'm not being Arischa. This is just a part of me in my process of, growing old gracefully.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the age thing, like feeling, because like now when you're 50, you're playing those roles in your 30s, which is cool. Could I play a role in my 30s? Sure. I think if I, straighten my hair and put on a wig, I might be able to pass for like 35, 40, maybe. But I like sitting in 50. I like sitting in 50 because 50 brings with it a wealth of experiences. So I think that it's just a hard thing, because a lot of times you'll see somebody who's playing 50 in a movie and they're actually 60. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that age thing is a interesting place to fit as an actress.
Definitely.
I still think about, should I cover this gray? I think I won't. I don't think I will. But that age thing is it's tricky. It's tricky.
I think the gray stands out.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's right there. It's like, bam, here I am. Hear me roar. I love it.
I like it. I do.
I
like it. I like it.
So what I want to do right now is play your reel, and then we're going to talk about some of these projects that you've been on.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, it might have been easier down home than up here. Hal Drucker got shot walking to his car last night. Just walking. Now he's dead as a doornail.
Wait, that's the man that wear the red suit all the time.
Mm-hmm. You looking good, Miss Robin?
Mm-hmm. Got them boys chasing our ass double time.
Whatever.
I'll go get
Please.
your food.
All right.
That sounds nice. I wish you decided to play white savior back when you actually had influence. I only took this meeting because I wanted to look the former DA in the eye and tell you how you ruined my Jamil's life. Have you thought about methadone? He said it might work.
Just get addicted, like trade one for the other one.
I asked around, and there's a good clinic in Knoxville. It's worth a shot, Dr. Phoenix.
Has afflicted your heart. Compassion is dead. The end of the world is upon us. Get ready, brothers and sisters.
Yes, 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 yes. You know what's so cool about that? It shows your range, because in every last one of them, you was not doing the same thing.
That's true. That's true.
I love it. Because I wonder, can I play a homeless person? You know what I mean? Can I play a doctor for real? Because, I got a mohawk. I mean, I know they put a wig on me and stuff, but, these are things that I'll be thinking about. And seeing you, I'm like, yes, I can do it all. Yes, I can.
Indeed, you can.
So before we go into the actual films, take me into, how do you prepare yourself for a role?
It all depends on what the role is. I think for each one, it's different. Like for, let's say, Swagger, for example, she was a street preacher, right? Mm-hmm. And so for that role, what I was thinking about is giving messages to my students. Like when I used to talk to my students, and these are messages to save them, because as the street preacher, she's giving her community messages that she feels is going to save their life. Mm-hmm. So I brought me talking to my students because I was passionate about it. I loved my students. I was very passionate about them and their lives and them believing in themselves. So I brought that into Swagger. Mm-hmm. And like for Dopesick, I was a couple of things. I used to work as a receptionist in my father's office. My father's a dentist. So when I walked on set and I saw the set for the first time, I was like, it reminded me of my father's office. It's like, I've been here before working for my father. So I looked at Michael Keaton. I used to just look at him sometimes like he wasn't paying attention to me, but I would just look at him and visualize him being like my father. Mm-hmm. And how much care and love I have for my dad. I love my father's still living. Dr. Charles Connor. Hey, Dad, if you're watching. How much love I have for him, and how it's so funny because like there was a scene where they found out that he, we all found out that he was using the Oxycontin, and I was upset, right? And in that moment, like we did that scene for like 2 hours. Like I was crying for 2 hours. You probably barely see the tear fall in my eye, which is fine. But I was thinking in that moment, like the joy that I have when I was a little girl riding in the park with my father, listening to music, and that, just the joy and that feeling brings me to tears. So, and that's what I was thinking, like, this is my dad, he's falling apart, but that joy, so it's just different for every role. And like I did Players on Paramount, that's not on there, but for that one, like it was just me being a mom who didn't understand what their child was going through. And that's just life, because there's a point where your kids get to a point and you're like, what are they doing? I don't know, And then for the Ptolemy Gray, I was a waitress when I was in school. And see, that's the great thing about acting, because you can people watch and figure out a lot of things about a lot of different careers or whatever. And then, you have your own vast experiences that you can bring into it. And I was a waitress for years when I was in college. trying to put some money in my pocket and keep my lights on. So, it's just the experience, and then just thinking, how would I be? Who am I? Because, like I say, the character has a name, but it's really just, it's me. There's no way I can be somebody else. I can only be me. So how would I do it? I'm just being me in these circumstances, using my experiences.
What was your experience working with Samuel L. Jackson, and how did that impact your career?
It was amazing, number one, because Samuel L. Jackson is my favorite actor. I love him because he's so strong. And when he started in his career, he wasn't afraid to take a role. Like, he's taken role after role after role after role to get that experience on set. And I love that about him. And now he's like catapulted him. Like, he's the highest paid male actor of all time. He has the most jobs. He was in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most acting roles, because he puts that grind in. And I had taken his master class, on the little master class app. So working with him to me was surreal. I was a little nervous when I got on set, because it's Samuel L. Jackson, and he has a huge personality. Oh my gosh, his personality was too big for that room we were in, but he had people laughing, and he just makes you feel comfortable. And I remember we were doing this part of a scene, and something wasn't working, and he was like, "Honey, listen, baby, let me tell you, you're going to do A, B, C, D, and then that's how we're going to do it. All right, sounds good?" I was like, "Yes, sir, let's go." We did it. So he was helpful, and he's a talker. Like, in between takes, he's just talking. I'm just sitting here like, I'm standing here with Samuel L. Jackson and Dominique Fishback, and they just sitting here having a conversation, and I would try to interject. I'm a little bit of an introvert sometimes when I'm around people, but I would try to interject because it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
He has such a big personality, but what I learned was he's really just being himself in the role. Like, him having a conversation, and then they say, "Okay, and rolling." It's just like a continuation of the conversation. It wasn't like he was putting on something. It was just being. You know what I mean? There wasn't much difference in him having conversation with his friends or the other castmates. And when the cameras were rolling, he was just being authentically himself. And that's a lesson in itself. It's like, okay, just be authentically. I've seen it over and over and over again. It's the same thing with Michael Keaton. Having a conversation with him, Will Poulter, who I absolutely love. He's so sweet. Just having conversation with them. He was really nice, really nice. And then when we go on set, it was just like a continuation of the conversation. It's like I didn't have to put on anything. It's just, we just had this conversation out there, and, we're just continuing it on screen. Yeah, nice. It's a lesson. It was a master class. I should have, saved my money and waited, but who knew? Who knew? It was amazing.
That is awesome. So let's talk about Dopesick. It was nominated for the most Emmys last year?
It was nominated. The Emmy Awards were this year. They were nominated for 14 Emmys. It won 3 or 4, because I know they got some creative arts Emmys as well. Michael Keaton, of course, won for Best Actor.
How does it feel to be a part of something so successful?
Listen, my TV was on. My husband was like, "You need to dress up." I did dress up. I mean, of course, nobody saw me. I was in my living room. I could have gone, but I didn't. I didn't go. But when Michael Keaton won, I was so excited because as actors, a lot of time our job is to help the story to move along and make sure that the person that you're sharing the screen with looks good. And so I think about, like, my biggest, the biggest scene that I had was in episode 6, and we're sitting at this table having this conversation, and I'm trying to give him everything he needs so that it just looks really authentic, because that was the thing in his everything that he was doing. He wanted to make sure that it was authentic and it looked real. So, I'm just giving him me and how I would feel. So, and it's like, when he got his Emmy, I feel like a piece of that is anybody who shared scenes with him, a piece of that Emmy is theirs as well, because we're working with him to make sure that when he's portraying his story, that we're a part of that. We're giving him what he needs to be able to portray that character in an authentic way. So like when he won, I was like, I won. You know?
I would have felt the same way.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they need to mail you yours.
Mail it.
Right, because you played a part in that. So transitioning from stage, from singing and theater to the small screen, how was that?
It is a transition. It definitely is, because when you're on stage, you know, you have a room that has 500 people in it. So you have to make sure that the person in the back row not only hears you, but sees whatever that is. So if you're mad, you might be like, you know, you got to show it so that they can see it, you know?
Right.
But with film and television, it's more internal, because like when I'm mad at somebody, I don't go, grr, you know, I might just, you know, but and the camera picks up all of that internal dialogue that you have with yourself. So that transition it's a big transition, because a lot of times people, you know, we've all seen movies where, you know, people will come on and it feels like, I was watching a movie the other day and it just felt like a stage play. I was like, and it could have been so good if the performances were pulled back and it was more internal. And we saw the pain in your face, not you saying, I'm thinking right now, please leave me alone. You know, we don't have to see that, you know, on stage, yes, but not on film. The camera is going to pick it all up. And it was, I'm not gonna say the name of the movie, you know, but it had some named people in it. And I was just so surprised that it just seemed like a stage play. But just knowing that when you're in front of the camera is going to pick up your emotion. It's going to pick it up. It's going to pick up, and whatever you're thinking, you know, people, as we're watching movies, we're like, sometimes I watch a movie like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking. Because you know, you see it in their eyes, something is going on there. So it is a transition, and that's where classes come back into play, so that you can understand how to pull that back a little bit and just be, you know, let those emotions be eternal, and it'll come out in your eyes. I know I've seen scenes, oh gosh, what's a movie like the Green Mile? Like there are scenes in that film where nobody's saying anything because they don't have to. You know what I mean? Because all of the emotion and they're saying everything that they need to say with their eyes. Oh, that's such a good movie. The Green Mile is such a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah.
Now you are a HBC alumni, and your college, of course, honored you. And how did your college experience impact your life?
You know, I am a member. I went to Hampton University. I wasn't ready for college at that time. So like, you know, people are taking gap years now.
Right.
Had it been like back then, it's no gap year. My dad, you better take your butt to school, you know.
Right.
But I probably could have taken a gap year. I wasn't really ready, but it was a great experience. It's like, an HBC experience is like no other. There's so much love and community on campus. Your professors are looking out for you. It just feels like it's just family, you know. And when I was at Hampton, my thing was I wanted to be a singer. I want to be a singer, and I was singing in a jazz group, jazz band. I was on I was a marching pirate, you know, just all the experiences. And I took an acting class, and my acting teacher was great. And I really learned the things I learned in that class are things that I take with me, you know, throughout life. So when I left Hampton, actually, I was academically dismissed. I was having a good time. Yeah, I was. And then I went to Claflin. Thank you, Claflin, which is the oldest historically Black college in South Carolina. And it was the same thing, though. I landed into another family in another phase of my life. And I was in a show, Mama, I Want to Sing. I I loved it. I still didn't get the acting bug. The singing thing was just like at the forefront of my brain. I'm going to be a singer. But I was acting. Dwight Lowry was one of my was over the theater program. Mary Grimes. We did Mama I Want to Sing, which was amazing. Listen, that was a great experience. And I remember I lived on Ellis Avenue. Anybody from Orangeburg, they know Ellis Avenue. And I remember somebody came to the door trying to sell candles or something. They're like, "Hey, I saw you in that play, that Mama I Want to Sing." I was a little kid. You did so good. It made me feel good. But at that point, like I said, my mind was singer. I'm a singer. Did you hear me sing? Did you like my songs? Yeah, you sound good. But it's just the support, the selflessness, the wanting to see us succeed as students. I take that with me, and as an actor, I bring that with me. Because whenever I meet another actor, I try to support. I try to be as selfless as I can be. I want to see every actor win, because there are enough seats at the table for all of us to take a bite. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And that those characteristics were ingrained in me, and I want to see everybody win. And I do. My husband tells me all the time, he said, "You give too much," but it's just because I really do want to see everybody win, because that's how it is at HBCU. It really, that's how my experience was. Because when I was at Claflin is when I had my daughter. I was a junior, and my professors, I remember I had a test. My professor said, "Well, come to class, bring your baby. I'll watch the baby while you take the test." You know what? Wow. Where are they gonna do that? Where do they do that?
Right.
Except for because it's such a family, and they want to see you win. And I promise you, my heart is just to see people win. I have a heart for people, and to see people succeed, and for people to know that they are wonderful, amazing people. That's where my heart is. That is where my heart is. And it was grown. It was like the seed was planted and watered and sprouted at HBCU. So those experiences, woo, great experiences.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
You're also a AKA, right?
Yes.
Does that help you get roles?
Savoir Faire.
What'd you say?
I said I love my 13 sassy sisters of the Savoir Faire. That's my line name.
Does that help you get any roles?
I don't think it's helped. Because I've never been on a set where I've met anyone who was a member of any fraternity or sorority that came and say, "Hey, I'm a such and such such." So
right.
Now, if it ever helps, now I'm not mad at that. So any casting directors or producers out there, I am an AKA. So what's up?
I'm telling you now, I would have that jacket on in one of my pictures. I would have something in something.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
In case that helps me a little bit.
Right.
So, what are your aspirations outside of acting?
Well, the audiobook narration. I love narrating audiobooks, and it's been a wild ride for me, because I'm learning, like, people will love your voice or they just will hate your voice. And trying not to take that personally. Some people just don't like the way you sound. They want to hear another voice read whatever it is. So but I'm enjoying it. I've never been much of a reader. Growing up, I read when I had to, but now I'm reading and I enjoy it. And I listen to audiobooks and I absolutely love them. My favorite narrator, I'm taking a class with her because I love class. I'm taking a class with her starting in November, and I'm over the moon excited. I really enjoy audiobook narration. And I think it's an area that a lot of people of color, Black people, people of all other colors and ethnicities haven't really tapped into. And because we have so many authors that are Black or Indian or Asian, they want that authenticity. So they, if they're writing a story with an Asian protagonist, they want an Asian person to read that book. If someone is Black and they're, the lead in the book, because back in the day, listen, you should listen to some audiobooks from back in the day, because it would be like a Black male lead and a white male narrator. And it's like, what am I listening to? What is this? But now they're just trying to really make it more authentic. And it's such a wide open field, and I'm loving it. Another thing that I'd like to do is I would love to do a jazz album. Because jazz, I used to sing in the jazz band I sang jazz when I was at Hampton. I sang in the jazz band when I was at Claflin. And I always thought I wanted to tour with the Count Basie Orchestra. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. There was a guy, his last name was Murrell. And I think he's deceased now, but he was amazing. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So I love jazz. And one day I would love to do a jazz album. So those are some things that I'm looking forward to one day. And I take lessons. I take voice lessons. My voice teacher, Amitria Doc, let me shout her out. She is amazing. Amitria Doc, she's amazing. And I'm just open. I'm open to, just being creative. I got my, I'm taking some acting classes now because I stay in class. It's important with Deja D and Sekou. I don't know his last name. And Deja, my instructor was saying the other day, you have to still be in touch with things that bring you joy. Don't allow acting to just be that only thing. And like, I have 4 ukuleles. I have a soprano, a concert, a baritone, and a bass ukulele. And I used to take my ukuleles with me when I was filming, and I've gotten away from it. And I'm like, I'm gonna get back in touch with my ukuleles. You might hear a ukulele, a kid, something friendly, something with me playing the ukulele, because I love my ukuleles now. I love them. So yeah, I just love being in creative spaces with creative people. I'm co-directing a play right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In Columbia, called The World You Left Behind. And, co-directing, I co-directed one before, but I love being in that space too. I just love being in creative spaces. And then I got to connect with Butter B. Rocka. She's amazing. So yeah, just being in creative spaces with creative people, I love it.
Absolutely. And Butter actually does plays. I did one play, and I had 6 national recording artists in it.
Listen.
Yeah, it was really good.
I looked you up,
You did?
Oh, of course I did. Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. I just got into audiobooks. I've done 2 now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just transitioned into that world, and I'm also doing films and stuff now. So yeah, I got some stuff, but it's real cool to be a creative person.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So how can people reach you?
You can follow me. I'm on Facebook, Arischa Connor. I'm on Instagram. Arischa is a star. It used to be Arischa Connor, but people trying to, how people make the fake pages.
Right.
Somebody's trying to get me to send them $200 for them to take down that page. I was like, that's all right. I'll just change my name. Right. So it's Arischa is a star on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, kinda, Arischa Connor, and TikTok every now and then. I'll do a little ticky talk and just Arischa, but mostly I'm on Instagram. Arischa is a star.
I'm trying to get with TikToks and all these. There's so many. I'm like, Jesus. I mean, I used to really be into this stuff, but it's so many things you got to keep up with. It's like, I don't really have time for all this. So I try to put it out there when I can, it gets there. Well, I would like to thank you so much for being a part of Transparency Talks podcast. When I say I have thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you, your energy is you've been using the word amazing, so I'm gonna say it too. Your energy is amazing.
My favorite word.
I'm serious. And so I would like to just thank you for being a part of Transparency Talks podcast. And with that, everybody, we are out of here. We will talk to you guys later.
All right. Thank you for having me.
No problem.